Back when I first started this channel, I did a road test of a Harley Davidson 883 iron and a Street 750, and in that test I actually preferred the 750. However, there is a third bike that Harley groups in sort of a trinity, so I'm here a year on an industrial estate to ride it and to gawk at it because it's very shiny.
The name 48 doesn't come from the size of the engine, it's a reference to the peanut tank that debuted on the S125 back in 1948, and as pretty as it is, you'll struggle to get more than 60 miles without having to fill her up. Add that to the fact that there's no fuel gauge, only a warning light, and it could complicate longer rides.
Just like on the 883, you get a single seat and an alarm as standard, but you also get these low-slung wing mirrors, these front set pegs, and the two most obvious visual differences being the hard candy tank and the high-profile tyres. It does look fantastic. Just like Donald Trump, it's erected many a... Actually, no, I won't finish that joke. If you're on the larger side, be it in height or circumference, or you just want a bit more bang, the 48 has a 1200cc version of the Evolution V Twin, and while you could add louder pipes if you wanted to, even the standard ones bring a great soundtrack. One of the first things that you notice when you get on this bike is it feels a little bit less nimble than the others. Now that's down to, well, a couple of things, mainly the tyres and the suspension. That front tyre slows the steering a little, which makes the 48 feel a little bit less twitchy than the 883. And another thing is, if you've never ridden a bike with forward set pegs before, it can feel a little bit strange, especially when stopping and setting off again, but you get used to it fairly quickly, I suppose. There's plenty of mid-range power from the engine, which is going to please those that like to nip in and out of traffic, and especially those on the heavier side as well. It's definitely got more of a power lump than the liquid-cooled Revy engine of the 750. The vibrations are immense though. Over a long journey, the bones in your arms will have rattled to bits. Although there's not much of a concern on shorter trips, and there's definitely a sense of atmosphere about this bike. That's one thing that you don't get on the 750. I have to say, after a couple of hours of riding, I'm still longing for the 750. I know people in the comment section are still going to say that's not a real Harley, but frankly, oh f*** them, because I think I'd still rather have that one. It doesn't help that I'm riding around here on a glittery gold noise machine. Someone genuinely tried to round me up and steal the bike. I'll show you some of the footage at the end of this video. I think this just shows the different markets for these bikes. Now the 48, well, it's definitely comparable to the 883, but the Street 750, well, it's in a completely different category of its own. That's not so obvious from the brochures, but when you ride all three it becomes more and more apparent. After getting very lost, and it's starting to go dark, I'm finally back, so let's park up and sum up. Having now ridden all three bikes, I can safely say that there's not a lot to choose between the Iron 883 and the 48. While the 48 is probably the better bike, a new rider might feel more at home on the Iron. That being said, a new rider is probably going to feel even more at home on the Street 750. While the Sportster range, well, it's got a bit more character and it's going to turn a few more heads, well, for the European market and the younger market, you can't really beat the 750. And it's only really cemented my decision. I'll have the 750, thank you very much. But I'll be back for you during my midlife crisis.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you'd like to watch my original review of the Iron 883 and the Street 750, you can click on the video that's on screen now, and please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as promised, I'm going to take you through some of the footage where I realised that riding around on a big gold glitter ball probably isn't a good idea. At this point you see this guy coming behind me. Now, he'd spotted me and sort of pulled off the road only to round me, and you can see here him eyeing me up. I tried to pull away quickly, but he follows as well, and you can just about see him in my mirrors here. Now at this point I don't really know what he's doing, but as you'll see in a minute, he decides to come up with a plan. He shoots past me, and I think at this point, well, maybe he's just trying to show off, but he jumps off the road here and tries to cut me off as I head further down the road. Now, you can't really tell from any of the other footage, but as I went on riding around here, I got kind of lost and had to keep pulling off into side roads to check my phone to see where I was going. And it's kind of a good job that that happened, because a lot of the time I would look behind me and see him coming off the roundabout in another direction, trying to find where I was. I don't really know what his intentions were, but I'm assuming they weren't that good.